Hi. This is Courtney Haley with 10 Studio. And I'm here with Pam Locatel with Sage Quality Service. And before we start talking about MoCRA, all things MoCRA, let's just talk a little bit about why I have worked with Pam since 2001. Is that right?
Yes.
So Pam handles all things regulatory for me, and she has. I met her in 2001, and that was way back when I was working for a factory in California. And I can easily say that everything I know about regulatory or quality systems or water systems or OTC products, I learned from Pam. I think she's the best in the world. That's why I've worked with her for so long. So for my background, I've been manufacturing for 28 years. And Pam has been in the cosmetic industry for, can I say the number? 41 years. So Pam started, so you've been in the cosmetic industry for 41 years. You started Sage in 1995. She works with the most famous companies in the world in her whole career, everyone from Estee Lauder to L'Oreal, J&J, P&G, but not just the big brands. She works with a lot of small brands as well. And she is the person that you call when you have questions about regulatory or things that are FDA compliance, or she does a lot of work with factories, having factories be compliant with the FDA. So I know there's a really brief intro because I just wanted to touch on that quickly. We can do a whole separate video about the expertise of Pam. But when it comes to the FDA, in my personal opinion, I don't think there's anyone better in the world than Pam. I've literally traveled the world with Pam, auditing factories, getting them compliant. I think in 2004, we got a factory in China, FDA compliant, from zero to FDA compliant. And I think it was 6 months. Was it 6 months?
About 6 months. Yep.
We were doing OTC products, and we were shipping probably like 50 to 70 containers a year over the US border. And so everything needed to be buttoned up. And Pam and I have traveled to many countries together, diving into factories and making sure they're compliant. So when it comes to MoCRA, which is what this whole series is going to be about, there's nobody better in the world to partner with than Pam. Pam is the person that is going to take a deep dive into all the changes that the FDA is coming through with MoCRA, and she is going to make it really simple. So just to quickly summarize, we're going to have on my website alerts and updates and guidelines, and we're also going to do some Q&A on Zoom that are live, and then we're going to record them and drop them in there. So we're going to have a lot of free information that just demystifies what the FDA is doing. It's very confusing right now. It's not complete, and Pam is going to simplify it for everyone and answer all the questions, and we'll have that available to you. So before we get to the first question, what we're going to do is we're going to go through a series of questions each week that we think are most important. And we're going to reach out to the community and find out the questions that people really want answered and they're struggling with. And this will be the community that we can answer anything MoCRA related that explains what your team should be doing, and what should your contract manufacturer should be doing, and what should your contract manufacturer overseas be doing. So we'll break it down into really simple pieces. So to kick it off, let's start with the very basic. And you know, I did want to mention too, one more thing is that not only is Pam an expert, has expertise in the FDA, unlike any other. She's also a member of some very prominent organizations in our cosmetic industry, such as IBA, which is the Independent Beauty Association, and PCPC, Personal Care Products Council. And they too will be giving information either from the legal perspective or just from the beauty perspective. So Pam really is going to be that full service resource who is understanding every single aspect of it and then simplifying it for you and walking you through it step by step. Okay, so now we're going to hand it over to Pam. So The very first question I think we should go through when it comes to MoCRA is that what is it and who does MoCRA affect?
Okay, so the Congress has been trying to pass some guidelines for cosmetic regulations, more robust cosmetic regulations for several years. And they were finally able to embed into this the omnibus spending bill that was passed by Congress in late December and signed by the president. They were able to embed into it this Modernization of Cosmetic Regulations Act of 2022. So they finally got in what they've been trying for in some form, maybe not all the aspects they quite wanted. And so we've called this is what is now MoCRA. And there are two parts to MoCRA. There's a part for brands, or the product, the name of the company that's on the product labeling. And then there's the contract manufacturers, which they call the CMOs. So the requirements for each of these are very distinctly different. And but they can become very confusing because the way it's presented is it's all mixed up together and it's not separated out nice. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to separate it out so that the brands understand what their responsibilities are and the contract manufacturers understand their responsibilities. And this is coming really quick. Before the end of the year, there's several aspects of MoCRA that are going to have to be already implemented. And the brands have to do some of it, and the contract manufacturers are going to have some responsibilities also.
Okay, so what Pam's referring to is we are creating what I call guidelines or alerts. And so we've already distributed two that Pam's created. So one is for brands and one is for contract manufacturers. So I've been already reaching out to people in my database and providing it to them. We're also going to drop it into my website so that you can have access to it. It is an ongoing document that Pam will be updating as we learn more from the FDA, as they're rolling out more information. And as she said, she's made it a little bit easier by breaking it into what is your responsibility if you're the contract manufacturer and what is your responsibility if you are the brand.